say hi?
Hi.
Can you tell them your name? Who are you?
I'm Trudy, I'm a
She's
Holden.
Trudy, and this is Kaylin, and they're with me for today.
Listen.
Yeah, they're with me today because I couldn't unload them on themselves. But they really wanted to hang out with Mommy today, so we're letting them hang out with Mommy today. Can you go play? So the reason I'm doing this video is because I got this today. Yay! This is something I'm going to explain it in a minute. We talked a lot about the Count of Rontasea trilogy that started my Coastlander series. Okay, so hey everybody, welcome to my channel. This video is a little bit different. I've never done a video like this before, but I just got this in the mail. For those of you who may not know very much about me, let me pause and start over. Sorry, I'm really excited, so I'm actually out of breath. I'm that excited. I also try to slow down because I know I get very fast talking when I do this. Hi, my name is Joanna Holden, and I'm an author of Christian fantasy as well as being an author tuber here on YouTube. Let's back up real quick and give a brief history. When I was 10 years old, I read the first Lord of the Rings book, The Fellowship of the Ring, and then I got to go see the first movie in theater. It was also the first movie I had ever been to see in the theater. And at that moment, I fell head over heels in love with fantasy. I'd already always loved like fairy tales and Narnia and stuff, but this was like epic saga fantasy. I fell in love with it. And I determined that I was going to write this big epic fantasy trilogy while I was 10. So needless to say, it wasn't very big. These were the original books. They were school books. So this was one I wrote when I was 10. You can see it. And then the next year, I wrote the sequel. And then 2 years later, because we moved in between, we did a school project again. And there's no cover for this one, but this is the third book. So I wrote this little trilogy, and it was super cliched. It was basically just plagiarizing Narnia and The Lord of the Rings and The Tower of Gabora by John White. It was all my favorite parts of those, with my characters, my world, and a little bit of my own story going on. Actually, quite a bit of my own story going on, but I had tons of plagiarism in there. Like, I was 10 years old, I was just learning how to write. I was copying what I liked and learning what I liked to be able to write. So, needless to say, the Coastlander series that I am writing now is nothing like that original fantasy trilogy. But I've always had a very special place in my heart for this trilogy because it was the first attempt I made at writing epic fantasy. In fact, I have an entire series planned after the Coastlander books are done to write that are based off of those original books. So the original story, which for those of you who don't know, it had the Narnia angle, where it had kids going from our world to a magical world and then saving the day and then being brought home. And lots of epic things happened. But yeah, so in honor of that original trilogy, and with wrapping up Coastlander for a while and not being able to get a book printed for a while, like I'm not even re-releasing Little Hood till fall, I was like, I need help. I need to remember why I'm doing this. I need to remember that part of me that wanted to write an epic fantasy saga. So I typed up those books, like I took it right out of the books. I typed them up on my computer, put them together on a KDP Amazon print-on-demand format book template, and I put together a stock photo cover. And just for myself, not for sale because it's my 10-year-old writing, but just for me and a close friend who wanted it, I printed off a copy of these books together in one book so that I can have it to see and just remind myself of where I started and of why I'm writing, because of how much I love fantasy, because this encompasses my love of fantasy right here. So since I'm probably not going to get to do an unboxing for a while, I wanted to do an unboxing of this. So yeah, here it is, and I'm gonna open it and then I'll show you. And we had to pause because somebody was very, very unhappy. So she's gonna help me. Can you help me? Okay. Here it is. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes, the title is definitely off center. But oh my gosh. This like looks like a real book. Like, oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that. So you can tell that the front is off center, and there's like a little bit of the top on the spine. But then look at the back. And I've never had a matte cover before. Like Little Hood was not matte. I love the matte. Oh my gosh. I love the matte. It feels so nice. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is so amazing. I'm opening it now. Shall I open it? Okay, so I'm just going to show you again. So I put together a stock photo cover. And as you can see again, this is off center, but I knew that because by the time I finally printed this thing, I had been through the cover. I've been working on it for 4 days straight, and I had done it 8 times trying to get it right. I think now I know how to fix it to where that won't happen with a real book. But honestly, it does not bother me because I know that like this was a test run. So, and then just look at the back. Oh my gosh, I love it. And I did have to have an ISBN, but it's just a CreateSpace one. Okay, so I'm just going to show you. So it opens up with that page, and then it has the official, like, that page. And then I have it copyrighted because I did copyright it. So for 2003, 2004, and 2006. And then I have each of the individual, I don't know if you can see, each individual book had its own dedication. So I'm going to read this. The book 1 was dedicated to my mother, whom I dearly love. Book 2, dedicated to my loving dad. I love you. Book 3, dedicated to my own dear brother, Jonathan Glass, who inspired the beginning of the trilogy and is my official editor. Here's like the first chapter, The Archway. So the title of this book actually came because I saw a copy of The Count of Monte Cristo on my mom's bookshelf, and I thought The Count of such and such would be an amazing title. Let's go with that. There was no count. Between the writing of book 2 and book 3, there was that full year, during which time I kind of learned a little bit more about stories. I learned a little bit more about writing. No! But I learned a little bit more about stories and writing, and I changed the book. No. I changed the story a little bit, and I added in an actual count. So, here, I'm just going to show you, like, the next 2 books real quickly. So, the first book was Round to Sea, which is the name of the land, the nation. Then the second was the Tower of Tashnaz, which doesn't actually come into the story at all. So book 3 is United Force, and I'm going to show you, I learned enough and I changed enough that I actually had an author's note. You can see that. The author's note says, due to the fact that during the time between the bindings of the first book in the trilogy and this, massive changes were made in the original trilogy, many of the parts of the book will not make sense unless we list the changes. And there were 4 changes. So the first change was that I added a count. Second change was that there were some changes in magical objects that were used. The third was that I took out the Tower of Tashnaz because despite the fact that that was the title of the book, there was no Tower of Tashnaz. It was a problem. And then book 4 was about like the god character in the story. Kind of like in Narnia there was Aslan, and in the Tower of Tashnaz there was Gaul. In this one there was Leus, who was the father, which is Leus, I think is how I had it pronounced. You can see, I don't know if you can see Leus. But then I had, so chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then these ones did not have titles, sadly. And they have a big The End. I love it! Oh! So I'm going to read just like the back blurb. Want me to read the blurb? So there's a quote on here. They all looked and saw an archway. Outside of it was the scenery that was all around them, but inside was a much prettier valley with a forest farther on. That's an actual excerpt from 10-year-old me. And then the back reads, thus begins a journey into another world, a world filled with beauty and danger, magic and sorcery. And for David, Mark, Ryan, and Mandy, life will never be the same. The nation of Round to Sea desperately needs these 4 unassuming American teenagers. Well, technically 1 teenager or 2 teenagers and then 2 preteens. And the evil Lord Vantoyer of Lantodas knows it. From the valley beyond the archway to the colorful city of Kant to the forbidden tower of the Dark Lord, follow 4 heroes in the making on a magical adventure you will never forget. I had to make up, and I am going to show you. So on the front cover, you can see, I could not think of a tagline. I could not, because the story really isn't a story, because I was 10, so I could not think of a tagline. So I instead put on these little mock review snippets just for fun. Like the top one is The Adventure of a Lifetime, a story for all fantasy lovers. There's something for everyone in this world. And it's just so fun. It's just so fun. Oh my gosh, I am so in love. And this isn't even like a book that I'm going to be publishing. Because I printed this just for myself, I added like this really in-depth about the author in the back. I'm going to pop these up on the screen, but this, if you can see, those were the pictures of me when I wrote these books, so 2003, 2004, and 2006. I'm not going to read it because it's super long, but then I show like pictures of the books as I wrote them originally, and then a picture of me as I am now, which thank you, Manuel, again, just for those pictures. And then I kind of dedicate it again, and then it was only like, I think, wow, that's nice. It only had 2 pages extra in the back. But look at this back, y'all. It looks so amazing. Ah, it's so beautiful. And it's so, I love the feel of the mat. I think I'm going to go with matte for the fairy tales because it looks more professional to me and it feels more professional. It's like a real book. But this is part of why I did it. This is going to sit on my shelf and I can look at these and I can hold them in my hand and I can say, yes, I wrote this. I put in the work. This is about 25,000 words. And so I can look at this and I can remember that, yes, I did finish these books. And I'm going to write the books that were inspired by this series. So help me. Like I said, I've never gotten to format or create my own covers. It was so much fun. And honestly, other than like the off-center thing, I don't think I did too badly. I really don't. I think, and this honestly, like I used the Create Space cover launcher, I think is what it's called. But I already had created like the front cover and the back cover on Canva. So I plugged these pictures. Oh, that was part of the reason that it took so long. But I plugged these pictures in, and then like even the spine, I went ahead and did it already on Canva. That's the end of today's video. Thank you guys for tuning in. This unboxing of sorts was really just a fun way of getting to share the excitement of what's coming because, you know, just to be able to see that these little big school books with my own illustrations could turn into something like this. Look at it. But they could turn into this just reminds me that no dream is impossible. You know, I am learning and I'm growing as an author and there's so much in this future. I'm just so excited. And now that I'm on a practice run on this book, I'm really excited. I'm gonna come in the video. I'm really excited to be able to get to work on the re-release of Little Hood and releasing Snow Dust and all the books that are to come. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing on your way out. I post great videos on fantasy, series, world building, all that crap, all writer stuff. I love you guys. Have an amazing weekend of writing and I will see you in my next video. Bye!